You should be familiar with proportional relationships in graphs and in tables. Now we're going to look at what they look like a little bit more when they are written in equations. Here's our first example. A sunflower grows at a rate of 3 inches per week. Now notice it says 3 inches per week, so that's a unit rate. We're going to fill in this table first, and hopefully by filling in the table it'll help us recognize what the equation should be. So we can fill in this first line. After 1 week, my sunflower will be 3 inches tall. Now, to figure out the rest of these boxes, I need to figure out what did I do to 1 to get to 3? What did I multiply by to get 3? I multiplied by 3, right? The unit rate, 3 inches per week. 1 times 3 gives me 3. So if I multiply that line by 3, I'm going to multiply the next line by 3 as well, and the next one. So after 2 weeks, my sunflower will be 6 inches tall. After 3 weeks, it will be 9 inches tall. Now the last line is going to be a little tricky. After X weeks, how tall will my sunflower be? X is a variable that represents any week. It could represent week 4, it could represent week 10, 101, it doesn't matter. But what we're really wondering is, what is the process that I follow for figuring out how tall my sunflower is? So notice we followed the same pattern in every row, so we're going to do the same thing in this row. I multiply whatever week it is by the unit rate 3. That tells me how tall my plant is. So I multiply 3 times what week it is, represented by X. Now let's use this box now to help us figure out the equation. The total height of the plant, of the sunflower, is equal to 3 times what week it is. Oops, and actually I did an X, huh? 3 times what week it is. So let's recognize what these represent. Y is the height of the plant. 3 is the unit rate, so 3 inches every single week. And then X represents what week it is, so the week number. And this equation represents this proportional relationship. Now all of the equations for proportional relationships are going to look a little kind of similar to this. So let's look at the next one and see if we can figure this out. Christy buys 3 pounds of saltwater taffy for $15. Now we don't have a unit rate yet, but we can figure out how to fill in the table. So this line right here, 3 pounds of taffy, I know, costs $15. So to fill in the rest of the lines, I need to figure out, what did I multiply 3 by to get to 15? 5, right? I multiply by 5. So 5 must be my unit rate. That means 1 pound of taffy costs $5. Okay, so let's use that for the rest of these lines. 1 pound would cost $5. 5 pounds costs $25. What if I buy X pounds of taffy? Well, I'd do the same pattern. I multiply it by the unit rate. And the total cost would be the unit rate times how many pounds I buy. So let's use this box to write our equation. The total cost equals the unit rate times how many pounds I buy. So once again, this is the cost, 5 is the unit rate, and X is number of pounds. So the big thing to recognize here is the unit rate is right here. And that's how all of the equations will be that you see on your assignment. The unit rate is always being multiplied by our X variable.